is going to give a speech titled, What is a Speech? Thank you, Tim.
So what is a speech? Probably have different ideas going through your head right now. One of them might be that a speech is all about being a presentation. Presentation. Perhaps, Rebecca, you remember back to those boring presentations like PowerPoint. Where shut up and watch the PowerPoint and dim the room down, and you sit there and try to keep your eyes open all the way through, and they put something up in that big screen, and you just expect to sit back there, shut up, and just watch it, right? So some people think a speech is a presentation. For other people, speech is a performance. Your goal up there as a speaker is to keep people entertained. It's like Barnum and Bailey Circus. You got things going up in the air. You got a clown act going over there. You got maybe dancing seals over in the corner. All these interesting things going on. Think about the Carrot Top, that sort of thing. Just all the time, something going on. Props like crazy. Performance. And then for other people, maybe you're thinking, no, it's not what it's about, Tim. It's about the point. All you're trying to do is get that point home. As long as you get that point home, then you're good. So you just hammer that point. Just keep bashing that point over the heads of your audience again and again until they finally get it through their thick skulls. So I didn't know what a speech was. Maybe you got that same problem too. Until finally the time came when I had to do a speech. It was coming up, and I knew it was. I kept thinking, okay, what the heck is a speech? Is it more, should I do a presentation, or am I supposed to juggle something up there, or am I supposed to go up and give some sort of a point and hammer the point? I didn't know what to do. I kept, what's a speech? What's a speech? And finally, I just got crazy, and I decided to ask somebody else. I know guys aren't supposed to ask for directions, but I did. I have a mentor. Maybe you have a mentor, somebody you go to for advice, for help, suggestions. Talking about Megan. Yes, Rebecca. Yeah, my guy's Bob. He's a medium-height guy, blonde hair, been in Toastmasters forever, and a professional speaker, so I figure he knows what he's talking about. So I go to Bob. I said, Bob, I don't understand what a speech is. Is it more of a presentation, or is it about a performance, or is it just about getting to the point? I said, Tim, a speech is not about presentation, performance, or even a point. Wait a minute, it's got to be about one of those. I mean, I've been around the block a few times, talking to a bunch of people. It's a presentation, performance, or a point, right? No, not about that at all. Well, then Bob, what do you think a speech is? And then Bob said something to me that just changed my whole perspective, changed my understanding, and just really got me thinking in a different way. He said, Tim, a speech is a conversation with your audience. Speech is a conversation with your audience. And as a speaker, all you have to do is make sure you get out of the way so the audience has a chance to get involved in that conversation. And I thought about it. A different way to think about things. The idea that a speech is just simply a conversation back and forth. That's all it is. No pressure, no problem, no issue. And maybe you're thinking, wait a minute, if a speech is a conversation, then does that mean a conversation is a speech? I asked Bob. So is a conversation a speech? Tim, yeah, a conversation is a speech. In fact, a conversation is doing the same sort of thing. It's just a chance to get the audience to answer. The audience may not answer out loud, but believe me, Tim, you will know what they're thinking every moment. And that's the whole secret of speech. When you're having a speech in front of someone, you're doing a speech, it's important to focus on the audience. It's all about the audience. What's the audience thinking? What's going through their minds? What's going through their heads? It's so common for speakers, and I've done this too, maybe you've done that, is to focus on yourself. And get so focused in yourself and so focused on what you're doing, you're thinking, am I going to give a presentation? Am I supposed to, lecture them and get them to shut up and behave themselves? Or is it more of a juggling act going up here? Or maybe I'm just counting that point in, but it's not any of those. just about having a conversation. And once you can have a simple conversation there in front of your audience, then the pressure starts to roll off you. It's not a big deal. So you had a conversation before, right? You had conversations. And you know, it's pretty simple. You talk, and then the other person talks, and you talk, and then the other person talks. It's pretty simple. Now, sometimes the other person doesn't let you talk as much as you'd like to talk, but somewhere in there, you get a chance to have that conversation going on. It's the same thing when you're giving a speech. When you're giving a speech, the challenge is how do you get out of the way? And the simplest thing to do is to pause. Let the audience have a chance to think. The audience have a chance to get involved. The advantage of pausing is that it gives the audience a chance to think about what you're saying, a chance for it to sink in. Have you ever talked to somebody who just keeps talking and talking and talking and talking for like hours on end and you just can't stop them? And you try to get away, you try to find a time when they're going to stop talking, you say, oh, I gotta go somewhere else now. But they just keep rolling on and on and on, and after a while your mind shuts down. You just like, you're stuck there and you're thinking, I'm going to be here for the rest of my life staring at this really boring person, and I don't know how to get away. The same thing can happen to your audience. You don't want that to happen. You don't want to bore your audience to death or into some sort of stupor. So just pause a little bit and let them get comfortable. So just to sum it up, you're giving a speech, simply a conversation with your audience. That's really all it is. And when you're having this conversation with your audience, you really start to let them have their chance, have their say, have their thoughts. Discover that the pressure of the speech rolls off you. It becomes a lot more comfortable up there. Easier to give, easier to talk, easier to do. You don't worry about, am I prepared enough? Have I worked at it enough? Have I got enough things going? It's not about that. It's just about getting up there and getting that point across. And once you stop worrying about how good you look, you start looking good. You start looking good because then you know what you're doing up there. You look like you know what you're doing up there. There's no pressure on you. It rolls off you. And when that happens, quickly you can start to give speeches. Because speaking is re-speaking. You're probably aware of that. You may have heard of that before. But in order to re-speak, and as a professional speech coach, I say the same thing to people over and over again. You got to speak first before you can re-speak. And the biggest challenge people have is to get up there and to start speaking. And I think it's because of what Bob talked about. They think it's speaking is some sort of big deal. And it's really not. Once you start doing it, once you have this simple process of just talking, pausing, then everything becomes a lot more comfortable, a lot more relaxed up there. When that happens, finally, you get a chance to enjoy being on stage. Just sit back, enjoy it, let it all kind of wash over you, and all those things you're talking about, it's worse than death up there! Don't happen. Much to your surprise, find yourself almost enjoying the experience. So the next time you got a good big speech coming up, you aren't certain, am I prepared, am I ready, am I got everything in line, am I going to give the right presentation, or am I going to give the right performance, or am I going to get to the right point? Just stop, take a breath. Remember, it's not about you. All you're doing is having a conversation.